Hello and welcome to OSW Review, the old school wrestling video podcast. Filmed in glorious scramble vision and encoded with blast processing, we chronologically critique wrestling storylines pay-per-view by pay-per-view. This is not that by a long shot.
It's very different.
But there is fighting in it. We're here with your boys, your Muay Thai mates, the Taekwondo Tricky Dicky, Jay Hunter, and the Karate Kid V1.
What's crack?
It's Kung Fu Hustle. Thanks to Stephen Byers, who chose this one.
Ah, nice, mate. Good choice, by the way. Thank you very much.
How you doing, Steve-O?
Not too bad, not too bad. It was a nice change of pace to be watching this rather than wrestling-based / Horace Hogan-based content.
Our last film review was Spice Girls Spice World. That went down a treat. And before that, Steve, how did you like our Mortal Kombat reviews with Matthew, MK1995 and MK Annihilation?
I thought they were super fun. Totally had two sides of the same coin, you know, like the first Mortal Kombat movie, loved it, gushed over it. Second Mortal Kombat movie, hated it, slaughtered it, but it was still great fun. It's always nice to touch base with Matthew as well. Woo! And have a bit of crack with him.
Yeah, and you got to gush about Liu Kang phrase. Very strokeable.
Very strokeable.
Yeah, it's cool having Math down. Anyway, well, Kung Fu Hustle, 2004 by Stephen Chow. Quite difficult to describe. It's a gangland story about mobsters terrorizing a small apartment block that's martial arts action, CGI heavy, and cartoon slapstick.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Set in China in the 1940s. We'll touch on this Mo Lei Tao cinema style in a bit.
Mo
Lei Tao. How did this all come about? Let's get you up to speed. Kung Fu Hustle Retrospective. Directed by Hong Kong filmmaker and actor Stephen Chow. I love how he spells it the Irish way with a PH.
Yes, it's great.
He co-wrote, co-produced, directed and starred in this movie.
He Roman Reigns did. The big dog.
I went, he Tommy Wiseau.
He told me Wiseau did, okay.
You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
Best known for directing this and Shaolin Soccer, initially shot to stardom, being cast as the main star in wuxia fighting comedy drama TV show The Final Combat in China. He started directing in 1994, and by the late 90s he was already quite famous in China. But it was 2001's Shaolin Soccer that catapulted him into Western markets.
I saw Shaolin Soccer years ago, and I thought it was like a super fun movie. And I don't know why I never got around to watching this. I just put it off. And like I had friends going, you have to see this movie, it's so much fun. And I'm kind of glad that I waited, because now I get to talk about it.
We get to review it in a formal capacity. Yeah? With this film, Kung Fu Hustle in 2004, being his crown jewel. He hired a lot of aged cast from Hong Kong action cinema back in the 70s. Not limited to, but including Yen Hua.
Landlord.
He was in Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury, where he's like, crawl like a dog, and then he gets beaten soundly for it.
Nice.
There's only one thing you need to do. Pretend you're a dog, and I'll take you it.
Yen Chiu.
Landlady.
She was in James Bond.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the man with the golden gun. She was Nara, Hip's niece. So that makes her a Bond girl.
Ah, that's fucking awesome.
Protecting Roger Moore. It's like two schoolgirls. And you're like, stand back, ladies. And then they just batter the heels. And he's just there. Oh, all right.
Nice.
Danny Chan.
Brother Sum.
Who was also in Shaolin Soccer and went on to do the Ip Man movies.
Ah, another movie that I haven't seen that I really want to watch.
Greg's a big fan. So I don't know if that pushes it or... Bruce Lung.
Beast.
Who's kind of known as a Bruce Lee knockoff. Playing Bruce Lee in The Dragon Lives Again. It's part of a whole subgenre called Bruceploitation.
Bruce exploitation. I love it.
Where Bruce Lee dies and like a load of people tried to fill the gap with the exact same gimmick. And I was like, Bruce exploitation, is that something Vince McMahon did when Stampede closed? Because Bruce Hart, he invented
Everything.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, invented
Bret
the Attitude
Hart.
Era. Stephen Chow hired himself as Sing, the rogue who so desperately wants to break bad and prove himself. Filmed in Shanghai over 4 months with double the budget of Shaolin Soccer from 10 million to 20 million, it released Christmas Eve 2004 in China, a month later for us Guilos. Chow spoke to the Irish Times 6 months later in July, saying,
Luckily, I had complete control over the film. I had final cut. During the negotiation, we put through several conditions and happily the studio trusted us. We were aware that we would have to please a Western audience, but that was part of what we wanted to achieve with the film.
oh, thank you, Stephen.
The Irish Times.
Yeah.
This is the interview that mattered.
That made him. There's nothing until he was on TV Car. Garnering a 7.7 on IMDb and 90% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see how it all went down. Canton, China, 1940s. The Crocodile Gang show themselves above the law, dressing down the police chief as the officers look on with terrified stillness.
He kicks a pot of boiling water on your man's face. I was like, holy shit.
They're in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, new do to boot it. Cowboy boss Weinstein's a girl. When they're confronted by rival mobsters, the Axe Gang, led by Brother Sum, dude with the slick hair and nasty gold grill.
You know what I kind of liked about this? The older gang, they were kind of like outlaw looking, cowboys wearing their hats and everything. And then these lads come out and they look like organized crime, like a mob. It's the changing of the guard from the Wild West to the kind of, mob era. Made me think of the end of
Red Dead?
Red Dead.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Where you spend the whole time as a cowboy and then at the very end is the birth of real civilization as we know it.
Yeah.
Remember seeing a brick house for the first time. Whoa, what's that? The tone is quite light-hearted as there's choreographed shimmying, dancing and big band gangster music, trumpets but with Asian drums, as the Axe Gang make mincemeat of their rivals, taking over the town. Leader Brother Sum makes sure you know he's healed by saying he doesn't kill women. Sexist? But he rights that injustice and
Bam, right in the fucking back as well. It got them over as like ruthless, evil gangland killers. But it did confuse me for like the first few minutes because tonally that's quite dark. It took me a while to kind of reset my brain as to what this movie would end up being afterwards,
Absolutely. Yes, that's a huge point throughout the film. The first watch of the film is trying to figure out what the tone is.
Yeah.
And getting used to it. See, in a time of lawlessness, only the poorest slums, which gangs have no interest in, can live in peace. Like here in Pigsty Alley, a little U-shaped cul-de-sac with dozens of shabby apartments. Dreary greys showing decades of weather-beaten wear, clothes strewn out on washing lines, no plants or greenery, just soft, dry earth where geese and cows walk amongst people. Men pull carts filled with sacks of rice, and also a public pump for bathing. These lads are keeping it real.
Different times when... also different places.
Yes. Of these lads keeping it real includes Cooley, a jacked lad carrying huge sacks of rice on his back.
Months overdue and not even a lousy good morning? You're going to end up being a coolie your whole life.
Coolie is an archaic insulting term for an unskilled native labourer in China and also India and other kind of Asian places.
Okay.
Coolie.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, it is cool. It's
Coolie.
Yeah, it is Coolie.
By the way,
It's a new slur we can get past YouTube censor.
YouTube China will be having
I know.
Baiko or whatever they use over there. It was at this point in the movie where I had to like pause it and think, do I want to watch this movie as I am? Because I began watching this movie with English dub. And when I saw them talking and the lip syncing doesn't match up, I was like, okay, I don't like that. Then I went to English dub with English subs. I gave that a minute and I was like, no. So then I said, fuck it. And I went to Chinese audio with English subs, which I think is how you should watch it.
Absolutely, yeah. I found the English dub to be distracting.
Yes.
Because it's really bad. It's just like people doing an
old
impression.
Yeah.
We're Splice Father Ted.
You. Okay.
Come on, Dougal, lighten up.
Time to meet the main players. You wouldn't know it by the introductions. We meet Landlord and Landlady. Landlord is this token fancy man, silky PJs, hair clips, makeup in the morning, domineering yet flirtatious, playing a bit of pinch arse with one of the lads.
Oh, he is going around pinching everything. The girls, the boys, bit of everything.
Just whatever's biting.
Yeah.
My favourite thing here is he steals a kiss from Jane, one of the girls, by, distracts her and then kind of moves his cheek up to her so she turns and kisses him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, he's just won Me Too.
So, fat woman, are you the boss around here or what?
Fat woman, my ass!
哦，肥婆，你就係負責人啦，係嘛？
廢婆啦！
Landlady, in her curlers, white nightie, red flip-flops, brandishing a handkerchief, cigarette and a scowl.
No chance, that's what you got.
Vince McMahon struts down the stairs.
Yeah. She wouldn't be out of place in, one of those 1980s Irish comedy movies, like Roddy Dial comedies like The Snapper or The Guard and things like that, like she just looks like your 1980s Irish mammy,
yeah.
giving out.
抵得你咁靚仔啊嗱！
She has none of the demands for running water, saying no water Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and water rations Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And then walking off, she kind of loudly mumbled to herself.
I just love hearing you complain, assholes.
Oh, good morning.
Just pay your rent or I'll burn your shop down.
It's like, good morning. I'll burn your shop down.
She's great.
I was transfixed watching her. Like, this is where it's at.
Yeah.
I just, like you were mentioning earlier, at this point, I still don't have a fix on the genre style of the film. It's jokey, but there's violence. There's gays and gangsters, threats, but beaten back with a flip-flop.
Yeah.
Semi-dance routine slapstick. Landlord, he's up and arguing with the missus, and he takes a nasty bump through awnings and splats onto the concrete stone below.
And I was like, but then we saw the blood come out and I was like, oh shit, he's fucking dead. But then the flower pot fell on his head and I was like, oh no, this is total comedy, slapstick comedy.
And then see how it breaks open,
Yeah.
but the soil is still intact. That was quite clever.
With the little flower coming out of his head. He looks like Pikmin.
No! Because the other characters, they stop when the blood starts pouring out. It's like, oh god, he's dead. And when it kind of starts poking him, and he's like, Fungu! And all is right with the world. Yeah, there's a huge instance of this mole toe. We'll get to it in a shake. We're introduced to Sing and Bone, Bones the fat lad, two wannabe gangsters who've arrived at Pigsty Alley amid the sweltering heat. Oh man, it's like cool how it warps the camera footage as well. How's your leaving cert physics team? This heat haze or mirage is called?
Refraction?
Yeah, caused by different temperatures in the air leading to different densities of the air and how light passes through it. So refraction, it's the redirection of a wave through a medium. So we're seeing the redirection of a light wave through the air.
Nice.
And that gives it the wavy haze there. Isn't that so cool?
And I've always thought it looked awesome. Yeah.
It sells the sweltering heat of it.
Yeah.
You know?
kind of like this summer over here in Ireland, you know. It reached 29 degrees, lads, today. 29 degrees. Ball soup down in me jocks today.
The lads denote themselves as heel with no more soccer and curb stomps the ball.
Which is a nice reference to his previous movie, Shaolin Soccer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And a reference to OSW and the mid-90s new generation because he makes kids cry, brah! They meekly intimidate the barber with the fat lad revealing his Axe Gang tattoo.
Hilarious. And the extreme close-up titty jiggles.
His wobbly ditties.
Yeah, which goes on for ages. I'm guessing that they get the camera up real close and they have someone behind them pushing his side titties to make a jiggle. Brilliant. I could watch this all day.
It's hypnotic. And he warns about the haircut, that making him look good is really bad.
It's like this movie was made for us.
This has to be a Fatal Deviation reference. That's amazing.
You made me look bad, and that's not good.
The barber has none of it, the ruckus drawing a crowd who have a good laugh responding to his threats.
Even though these are, you know, meant to be bad guys, they're clearly quite charming and funny. It made me think of the Power Rangers, Bulk and Skull.
Oh!
Just two bumbling idiots. I was kind of thinking that their song was going to kick in, you know? Me little beep beep, me little beep beep.
Brilliant. Who steps to them? A jacked nerdlinger, a jacked kid, a teeny bloke who's actually gigantic like a grasshopper. And he always thinks of an excuse to, oh no, you're cheating, I can't do it.
He's brilliant. He plays it off so well. Like, you know, this cocky guy who thinks he's it and he, you know, has a lookout and he picks the weakest looking people and any sign of a chance that they could beat him. And he's like, no, but I'm doing it for you. It's not for me. I'm trying to save you from me. Brilliant.
靚仔，我忍你好耐噶啦，出嚟啊！得啦，叻啦。喂，冇個抽得嘅，嗱你哋自己唔爭氣嘅咋嚇？
The real Axe Gang show up and subdue the residents and go to burn them with gasoline drums until Cooley steps in for our first big action scene. And I was like, it's like the Burly Brawl from The Matrix happens.
Yeah, yes, I was exactly thinking the same thing. Did you like when your man walked forward and then the screen went black and your man ends up in a barrel? I was kind of half thinking that the camera was going to pose to someone with their back to the camera and the like kanji pops up on his back, you know, with the waru balls on his neck. Oh, it was nearly Street Fighter, but you know,
Akuma, yeah.
It was awesome though.
Oh, Yuan Wu Ping, the action choreographer and fight advisor, also did the Matrix trilogy.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can very much tell.
And he also did like Kill Bill 1 and 2, Lethal Weapon 4, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Ip Man 3 and 4. Like, dude, you know, he's a legend
Okay.
in this.
Wildly talented.
The tailor gets in on it with his curtain rod rings, which become like power bracelets.
Shang-Chi!
Marked out here.
The legend of the 10 rings. Great stuff.
Oh wait, I can't make that noise. That just sounded wrong. It was an intrigued noise. Then Donut the baker with his rolling sticks. Thought it was a bit kayfabe breaky with the wobbly fake stick. He was like, there's one shot where it's slow. It's like, whoa. It's like Rolf Harris attacking it, which would be terrifying.
It would be.
Big, ridiculous Matrix 2 Reloaded CG action scene, but it's amazing. Ends with creating a big cloud of smoke, which hides having to choreograph sending the entire Axe Gang packing. The heels regroup at their hideout, about to execute the fake gang members singing Bone. See the fat lad's chest tattoo? It's almost sweated off.
Wiped off.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. Singh's lockpicking skills impress the boss and let them live so they can prove themselves. Out on the streets and squatting amongst the beggars, Singh resolves to be a heel. He so badly wants to be a killer and tells us his backstory. As a child, he was accosted by a scruffy beggar. I was like, oh, red flags here.
Big diddle vibes off of this fella, yeah.
Mate, you run. I'd rather be accosted by the monk in Fatal Deviation. He tells a young Singh that he's a shoo-in for being a natural kung fu master. Like, would you trust this lad? The kicker is he asked for a Virgil tenor.
Which it turns out that the comic's only worth like 20 cents.
But gets it, the lad trains in the ways of Buddhist Palm. Alright, there's like punk kid in the flashback, there's punk kids and they're hassling this girl, and he goes in to save her and he gets jumped by the knackers, and for his chivalry he receives a golden shower.
Multiple golden showers. There was no rationing of the water on that day.
Very good. And he just says, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be heel, and cements his nefariousness by stealing ice cream from a mute girl.
Yeah, which, you know, the girl in his flashback also looked like she was mute as well.
Oh, right. Could be anyone. a lot of muting going on.
Even though he, you know, talks about how he wants to be a bad guy because the good guys never win, it's very clear that this is the old trope of the beginning of the hero's journey, you know, which I like.
Well spotted, too. Back at Pigsty, Landlady is furious these masters, Cooley, Taylor and Donut, the baker, have been hiding here as it invites danger. It brings more gang attention to Pigsty Alley. I love how Landlady is permanently in rollers and old woman nighty. That's her outfit.
It's great.
She intends to evict the masters. Taylor, how does he react?
Oh my god.
What's happening here?
He becomes a limp-wristed
fancy man,
sissy boy, prancing back and forth.
He's like crying but laughing. You know, he's like a human Tingle.
Okay, yeah,
from Zelda. Yeah. Landlady is who Singh wants to kill to prove himself, and he's brought some knives and readies himself to throw them. And of all the outcomes of what you think would happen,
I think this is my favorite part of the entire movie. This is the one time where I literally laughed out loud.
What happens, Steve?
So, Singh takes out his bundle of knives and he goes to fling one, and it bounces off one of the eaves, one of the ceiling, and lands back in his shoulder, which he hilariously sells. And then Bone gives him guff, and he says, well, do you think that you can do better? And he goes, well, yes, I can. And he goes to throw it, and it goes into Singh's other shoulder, which is brilliant. And then he knifes him with the third one. And then Singh goes, what are you doing? And he takes it out. And he's like, ah! And he puts it back in again. I loved it.
And he ended up just throwing the handle at Landlady, but the knife stuck in Singh instead.
That's how it happened. Okay.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so funny. And he takes it back out and puts it back in again. Brilliant.
And then he gets a box and smacks him with it, and it's a box of snakes. And he's like, please stop doing stuff. It all goes so horrendously bad that he just roadrunners out of there, and we get a completely off the rails moment with them cartoon chasing.
This is literally the roadrunner being chased by Wile E. Coyote.
Crazy. This is the peak of the kind of Mole Tao cinema style. Stephen Chow didn't create it, but he did master it, and he popularized it beyond more than anyone else, which translates as says nothing or nonsense cinema style. This blend of slapstick plus puns plus incongruous and incredulous action with pop culture references and parodies, like sending up expected genre tropes. That's what Mole Tao is. And at the end, Singh is literally fighting out of a crossroads.
Yes.
As his character is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very nice. I have to say, it's probably my least favorite scene of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
movie.
big time.
Like, by the time this happened, my mindset had settled and I knew what type of movie I was watching and I was fine with it and I quite liked it. But I thought this was a bit too much.
The lads give her the slip, and the injured Singh can't recall how he's fully recovered. They forget the conversation as a hot girl walks down the street, and then two monks kind of block their view, and they just go, "Oh, what are you gonna?" I want to oogle this woman, please. Landlady leaves it up to Buddha to determine the master's fate.
A horrifically bad fate.
So they might as well stay. So there's that. Every cloud, you know. Those monk guys are top killers too. Musicians called the Harpists, pledging to wipe out the alley.
I think there's a character in Street Fighter V who looks exactly like this. His name was like Fen Shong or something like that. And he's got the long navy kind of buttoned top and he's got the hat and the glasses as well.
Oh.
He's the ringer for him.
Ooh, Splicey's there.
Yeah.
Singing like kind of like the Chinese Blues Brothers, the Bros Brothers. I can say that. You can.
Yeah.
Because I'm half Pinoy. Introduced showing the silhouette of an alley cat being sliced in two.
I loved this scene. It was so cool. Cooley is walking away and these lads are slowly like pinging notes at him. And everything is done in the background, you know, shadows chasing him, plants are being cut in half, and then this poor cat drops down and you see the cat's shadow being cut in half.
So cool looking.
Oh, it was really cool. And then as he turns around, his head cut off, flumps to the ground. That was fucking awesome. These two lads just took out, I think he was called the 12 kick master, and they took him out, no fucking bother. It was awesome. The entire gang couldn't beat him, but these two lads did on their first go.
Yeah, sweep length or above, hold it low punch, back down forward release, and then the Kung Lao and press up at the very last minute. Just had to put that in there. Oh, wow. And what's a long action fight sequence with soothing music played by the musician assassins who create music using a magical gujong that manifests as
Chicken gujong.
It's ruined. It's over. They can cut them easier, you know. The music manifests as a kind of deadly, semi-visible swords, knives, that kind of thing. And it's like a 10-minute fight sequence, you know.
Awesome.
But it's beautiful. And it can be so long because the music is so relaxing and gorgeous, you know. Favorite bit of this fight was Landlady, because she's not part of it at the time, and she obliviously complains from her window. They're like, "Yo, die, woman," and she's like, "Die with this racket?" And Landlord, did you like his bit? He evades getting hit with a sexy hip wiggle.
He's like the DC superhero. He's like a comedy guy. Plastic Man. Total comedy goof geek character. But he's the only guy who Batman hasn't been able to come up with a way to kill him in case he turns bad because he's too powerful.
Plastic Man, is he non-biodegradable?
I just thought this entire fight scene was amazing. Out of all the fight scenes, it was definitely my favorite. Like, it went on for ages and it put everybody over. Mr. Ring Power Man, he put up a great fight, and then just as he's about to be killed, Bowmaster comes in and saves him, and he puts up a great fucking fight, and then sacrifices himself to save the Ringmaster. So he's a great hero. The Ringmaster is a great hero because he fought until his very last breath, and it puts over the two bad guys as being super powerful, and whoever's going to have to take them out is going to have to be wildly powerful. I loved the scene. I thought it was great. And the CG samurai skeleton things, they looked awesome.
To finish the fight, Landlady reveals herself as a top fighter. Big Hoover lungs on her, sucks in her smoke, and screams, breaking the ghosts and sending them packing. Her banshee singing has saved the day. Post-match, landlady is in the mob car and she silently tells the gang boss to fuck off or I'll kill you without saying a word. Which is way more intimidating. This is actually a thing that Stephen Chow wanted. It was like, this is a Western audience. We're going to show you storylines with as little talking as possible. People will show you via their actions and their body movements.
Yeah,
you know?
Show, don't tell. And it works.
Obviously to intimidate without speaking, and I'm smoking, so I don't want to.
Smokes are not fucking cheap, you know?
This gimmick of her smoking came about as she was on set, smoking, getting makeup done, and the director saw it and like, oh, I love it. And that's how her outfit was made.
It's literally like OC's dream job, isn't it?
He gets paid to smoke.
He gets paid to smoke.
各位，我哋兩公婆曾經發過毒誓，唔再顯露武功，但係今日唔出手都出咗啦。
The residents are furious the landlords, now outed as master warriors, didn't help earlier. They reveal they became pacifists after their only child was killed in a fight. Hilariously, teenage Fuzzlip starts fronting, demanding to be trained as he's the chosen one.
Great.
And then what happens to him?
Oh, smack! What did the five fingers say to the face?
好明顯，我就係呢種人。
Brilliant. As the tailor lies gravely injured, he compels the landlords to save the alley. Because in great power lies great responsibility.
He Spider-Man'd him.
I wonder what, like, Chinese Spider-Man, how do they say it?
Careful now.
Spicy. We can't get into trouble then.
能力越大，责任就越大。你记住，力量越大，你的责任也就越大。
Meanwhile, Singh tries to heal out again with the ice cream lady. This time she brandishes a lollipop, revealing herself to be the mute girl who was trained alongside him as a child.
I knew it!
Her name is Fong. Singh swats it away, messed up in his head. I thought this was so funny because he just wants to be alone, but his mate follows him, so he shoos his fat mate away, who then tries to follow him anyway, and he has to kind of beat him back. I was like, that's so cute. So when he's offered a job with the Axe Gang, he takes it. Cue saber dance, and we're off on our first heist. What's the vig? They need to break out the #1 killer, the Beast, thought to be locked up in an insane asylum, or as it's properly known, home for the mentally hilarious. Ooh, do you like outside the asylum? It's Outworld sky.
Yes, very, very much so. Yeah, like swirling purple clouds coming down into a point just over the room where they're going to free the most evil man who's ever lived or something like that. Great stuff.
Yeah, got the Ribena Cloudy in there. Yeah.
The Ribena Cloudy.
And inside the building, we get the Shining lift.
What was that all about?
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. This movie, which began as kind of dark, then turned into total comedy and slapstick, turned into a horror movie for about 120 seconds. It was very strange. I did like it though.
The Beast is an old bald man in a wife beater, boxers and aqua flip-flops, and he's interrogated by the Axe Gang to test if he's the real deal. Fortunately, he says he'll assassinate the Pigsty Alley heroes for free, as he simply wants a challenge. Like, he incarcerated himself because he didn't have an opponent worthy of him.
Yeah. He was bored because he was like the world's top killer. No one could fight him. And the only thing he lives for is to find a challenge. So if they give him a challenge, he'll do it for free.
Yes. I didn't expect the best fighter in the world to have glasses. Like big Millhouse Coke bottle glasses, you know?
Whatever works, you know?
The gang don't believe him, and they're like, do you want some of this, do you? Because you're going to get it. Right up your bracket.
Sing is great when he like walks up to him and he's like, oh, I'm going to hit you. Going to fucking batter you. And it tips it with his finger and legs it and hides. Brilliant.
Beast demonstrates, oh wow, he can catch a bullet with his hands, saying in Kung Fu, speed determines the winner. He is the real deal.
Yeah.
You're looking at the real deal now. Woo! Sorry.
Speed kills.
The beast wastes no time, finds the landlords who are gambling in a casino. Crazy to see landlady out of her rollers and nightie.
I kind of wish that she wore the same gear, but just in like a nicer color. Sheer black or lace, and her like rollers are like gold or something like that. You know, that would have been a great little touch.
Yeah, she just has her hair tied back in a ponytail. It's like, why did you have them in curlers then? You healed out. I do love that, Steve. I think they were in a casino, so they had an excuse to do the Matrix slow-mo when she kicks the table and all the chips go flying and all that.
Okay.
And it looked amazing.
Okay.
My favourite bit of the fight, at the start, the landlady nods to the outcome, saying, leave now and escape your fate, and motions towards the giant funeral bell,
Yeah.
which is used to end the fight. Her build-up, you know, using her EX meter is amazing. Although, if this was a fighting game, she'd be locked into that animation for like 5 seconds. You know, she'd be pooped. Where she breathes in her stomach and transfers it to her tits.
Yes.
Anything in this fight that you like?
I didn't love this fight, you know. I did think the gimmick of having the bell was really cool. And I did like how we saw the landlady and the landlord batter the previous two guys, which were super powerful, and they gave the beast everything that they had, and it did absolutely nothing to him. So from that point of view, that's good booking. But in terms of an entertaining fight to watch, I didn't think it was as good as the previous one.
Ends in a 3-way submission hold.
Yes. Some kind of Mexican submission hold standoff gimmick here, yeah. Which is also nice.
Terrified gang boss cajoles Singh to get in on it, but he hits the boss and attacks Beast. Bunk. Chosen one. Jeff Jarrett's him. Who no-sells it. And we get a nice Matrix Sting music here. Singh pays dearly for turning babyface, being heart-punched. Shout out to Mean Mark Calloway here. Holy shit. And repeated strikes, literally caving his head in through the floor.
Yes.
This was brutal.
I was convinced that he was dead.
That's it. He just punches him into mist.
Yes. Yeah.
My God.
It was very, very violent. It's kind of cool though.
The baby faces leg it and regroup at the alleyway as the landlords tend to Sing, who should be dead. But he's just got a little bit of dirty face. He scrawls something in his blood with his last bit of energy. It's the lollipop, his mute mate. I thought this was going to be no, there is another type thing. She's the true fighter.
She is the one.
Yeah. But
she is your one.
But no, her payoff is something else. Sing's okay because he's got the Wolverine gimmick. He can regenerate perfectly, very quickly.
Which they actually alluded to earlier after he was battered the first time.
By Landlady, yeah.
Yeah. Bone said to him, oh my God, you've healed. Setting the scene, paying it off.
Yeah, solid.
Although, could have done without the 20-second cutaway of the butterfly coming out of its pod. It was like, okay, I get it after 5 seconds. I don't need 15 more. Like, smacking me over. Vince McMahon over the head. This is a metaphor. You know? I didn't need that.
Because he's wrapping bandages because it's like a cocoon, and then you have the caterpillar in the cocoon becomes a butterfly. You never guess what's going. Yeah, it's very on the nose there. Question, how effective are tongue depressors as a neck brace? Because that's what Landlady has on. Must work pretty great as she's ready for the final fight in your main event. The final showdown is the heroes versus the entire Axe Clan and Beast. So this fight, kind of another burly brawl, mixed. And you see Babyface, Neo, the one, is saying now, it's hilariously fake. Rando lads flying everywhere. And I was watching it, I was like, this is what special effects YouTubers do in Blender these days,
Yes.
Which is probably more a testament to the availability of technologies 20 years later. But yeah, fucking hell, state of it is
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Dodgy as fook.
Talking about the Bruceploitation.
Yes.
He is wearing the exact Bruce Lee gear that he wears in one of his movies, Enter the Dragon. I do like how his special move is squishing people's feet.
Yeah.
To which the Beast goes, childish move. But then it plays a big part in the end of it. So once again, booking stuff, getting something over to use it later. It's clever.
Yeah. And also stamping on someone's foot roots them in place, which means that more people behind them can't get through, which is very clever as a fighting technique. Oi!
Yeah, yes, it's the exact same thing here, yeah.
Marked huge with E Honda's Sumo Torpedo. Beast goes froggy.
I have the same thing written down. The Beast goes froggy.
Yes, Toad style, with the pose and bladder neck inhale. If you're wondering, why do frogs do this? Frogs breathe through their skin, as their skin is moist with lots of blood vessels near the surface, which exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen, which is why they make their surface area so big.
Because the more surface area is, the more oxygen transfer can happen within the same seconds, basically.
Yeah.
There you go.
Breath, yeah. It's called cutaneous gas exchange. Cutaneous just means skin. There. Don't say you don't learn anything about OSW.
We are an educational podcast, at the very least.
They give us some kind of grant. Fight. Much like Thorin and co, Neo Singh gets help from an eagle. Stepping to jump to heaven and see Buddha, makes his descent with his big finish. I surrender. Okay, if Beast surrenders, would you accept it?
No. He's the world's most dangerous man. He's Ken Shamrock. I mean, do you have to take him at his word? Otherwise, you're not the one.
Do you have to be a smelly idiot babyface?
I think so, yeah.
Because Landlady and Landlord had him beat with the massive funeral bell.
With the lion's roar.
Yeah. And he broke out his crazy stabby...
Oh, the flower thing.
Yeah. And I was like, But Beast Dude tries to Pearl Harbor from the front. Unsuccessful and is stopped in his tracks with Neo's hand power. Beast submits and bows, accepting his offer to be taught, and everyone still alive lives happily ever after.
Master.
Okay, so I just want to say this now so you can actually have a look at the fight for a bit. Man, Singh gets the best arc because he's the anti-hero, more of a fallen hero with idealism and selflessness, like save the world through kung fu. That's his thing that he wanted since he was a kid, but had been crushed via the world around him. To make it, you have to be cruel and selfish. Like, the landlady is quite selfish, water rations and that. The whole place is under gangsters' control. And if you reveal your true self, you're punished for it. Like the pigsty heroes save the apartment block and they're kicked out. Or that kid is like, I want to be a hero. Whammo!
Yeah.
But throughout the movie, his words are betrayed by his actions. Like he says, I want to be a killer, I want to be heel, but he can't kill. And he won't even fight the good guys, the landlords, hitting Beast and his boss instead and making up flimsy excuses for it. Even when he steals money from the mute girl, he ends up giving it the bone, the change, He did manage to steal an ice cream and leg it successfully.
I fucking love that scene. The two of them are in the back of the tram, takes a big mouthful and he goes, it's melting down his chin. He's so happy with himself because he thinks he did something so evil, steal an ice cream. Great.
Yeah. But of course, his true self as the main event babyface to bring peace to the world as a kung fu master is finally realised. A slap of 100 hands, Steve. Final scene. Singh meets with the mute girl, accepting her hand, and the two run into the lollipop shop. Do you like the kind of pan around showing them as adults and then as kids?
Yeah, it was nice. I'm guessing that's for the people who haven't realized that they were them yet, you know, because there's some dumb people.
1 hour, 40 minutes into
yeah, you know. So there are a good deal of people out there who need that because they can't join the dots. So I was fine with it, whatever.
I just thought it took them a bit long to get there with the pan around. It's like they really had to run slowly with a really heavy camera to pan around. Yeah. And that sees us out. Curtain down.
咪住，呢杯唔啱啊，仲有。
Welcome to the aftermath. Steve, my boy, what did you think of Kung Fu Hustle?
So I went in not knowing what this movie was. I had seen Shaolin Soccer before and I really liked it. I thought the opening few minutes were awesome and they kind of set the scene for this kind of really dark gang warfare movie. And then it kind of branched into comedy and I was a bit taken back. But once I got used to it, and I knew what I was watching and I could just sit down and actually take it for what it was, I love this movie. It's cheesy, it's cheap in parts, but it's very charming, very, very likable. Lots of memorable scenes, memorable characters. There's some pretty badass fighting in it. There's some pretty ropey CG work in it. But overall, like, definitely recommend it. A couple of laugh out loud moments as well. Yeah, I had a great time watching it. I'm really, really glad that this was chosen by our bra. Is it,
Stephen Byers.
Stephen Byers, yeah. Fucking animal. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Loved watching this. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I would say that if you haven't seen any Mo Lei Tao movies, after finishing the film, I still didn't know what to make of it. Had to kind of think about it, read up on it, watch it again. Since I knew what it was and I already knew the plot, I could enjoy it way more on second watch. I will say don't watch the trailer because it's terrible and it's the early 2000s, so they have the Ballroom Blitz generic rock music, the Ballroom Blitz from Wayne's World, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that and bad but it's like that and bad reputation. You know,
It's a girl and I hate everyone.
It's the least inventive fight music. So, you know, just watch the film. You might absolutely love it. And I can see why Stephen Byers picked this as his favourite film. And I just gotta say, the landlady is the best. What a great character. So funny, enjoyable to watch. Ma brandishing her slipper. Come here and I'll get you.
Yeah, come here, you little bollocks. Yeah.
And she's actually a huge baby face. So yeah, thumbs up. Great film. Lots of CGI, over 500 shots, some subtle, some obvious, like we're never more than a few seconds away from a touch-up shot. But mixing martial arts with the cartoon wackiness is integral to the unique feel of the movie and this genre of Mo Lei Tao. How was it received? Director Chow describes the film as his tribute to Bruce Lee and to the kung fu films of the 1960s, and wanting to reach an international audience, changed his style to more visual and less verbal film to express via actions and body language. On a budget of 20 million, it brought in 105 million.
Oh shit, okay.
You thought it did better. But like 5 times the budget is, a huge success.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course it is.
Winning 6 Hong Kong Film Awards and 5 Golden Horses awards, not giants.
Golden horse?
They're not giant golden horses. They're small. They're decent, so, you know. So popular, it had some shitty Flash games, like this kind of drag the mouse left and right and wail on axe members. It's like big bang of the internet in like
Newgrounds kind of stuff,
like 2004 or 5. Like it looks it, you know.
Okay.
It's like a spiritual successor to those, what do you call those, Game & Watch? With
Oh
the
my
baked-in actions. Officially, there was a side-scrolling point-and-click beat-em-up for mobiles in 2006 and a proper MMO fighter game in 2009, but only in Asia and only for PC. Was there a sequel? What about Kung Fu Hustle 2? Director Stephen Chow signed on for a sequel, but it won't be a direct one, more a spiritual sequel set in modern times. He'll have to recast everyone, sure, Landlady is 72 in 2022, with a new female lead. But as of recording it, it hasn't started production or anything. But, like, people still talking about it 20 years later, so yeah, like, there's still money to be wrung, there's still blood to be wrung from this stone.
I mean, is this a cult movie or is it bigger than a cult movie? Like, where was it kind of,
a definite big bang a cult movie of this, but everyone who's seen it seems to love it.
Yeah.
And talk about it, but hasn't penetrated as far as it could have.
It's a very likable movie. It's really charming.
Yeah. Why did our bra, Stephen Byers, choose this movie?
I chose it because it's one of my favorite kung fu movies of all time and always seems to put me in a good mood. I saw it for the first time with some friends in high school back around 2006 or so. I love that it doesn't take itself seriously and is willing to add comedy in more serious scenes. Some of the language hasn't aged very well, which is unfortunate.
Probably like Coolie, I guess. Coolie?
I love it.
What's something is a carja?
First Dr. Hata Aaron Count, Tasha and Cooley is a carja.
There, we'll get him over, see.
Yeah.
We'll get this new racial slur over.
Okay, some of the language hasn't aged very well, which is unfortunate, but I still love it all the same. My favourite fight in the movie is about 21 minutes in, with the 3 Kung Fu masters and the X-Gang.
Oh, the Burly Brawl, yeah.
The Burly Brawl. It's a classic Kung Fu fight, in my opinion, and sets up the movie really well.
Yeah, agreed, mate, yeah.
Well, Stephen Byers, thank you so much, mate.
Oh, man, you picked a good film.
Thank you. It's very rare that we review movies that we love in these Nugger U. I think like the last ones we did was like Alien and Aliens is the last movies that we loved, right?
Yeah. Oh, Mortal Kombat 1 as well.
Mortal Kombat 1, yeah. It's very nice.
This is where you fall down.
So thank you, mate. And I hope you enjoyed this Nugger U film review spooktacular. What do you think, Steve?
Great fun. Loved the movie. Completely recommend. Just go in knowing that it's a slapstick Looney Tunes comedy movie, and I think you'll have a great time.
Yeah, definitely give it a watch. It might be your favourite new thing. And if it's your first Mole Tao film, then you might need to watch it twice, and you enjoy it way better second one. It's like The Big Lebowski. The more you watch it, the more you enjoy the film.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. Like, I can totally see if someone said this movie is not for me, but I don't think I could understand if someone said this is bad, because it's amazing at what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well put, Steve. So, yeah, you can go on Nugger U, watch our other Nugger U film reviews, and also some extra, like, deleted scenes and behind-the-scenes vids and tips and tricks and music and artwork and stuff like that on Nugger U, which you can visit at
nuggeru.oswreview.com.
Yeah, buys a pint.
Buys a pint, buys a cappuccino.
Tea, coffee?
Tea or coffee, tea or coffee. 4 teas, please.
Anyway, so it's a goodbye from V1.
Take a boo.
And unfortunately, still 2.5 time Golden Nugger winner, Jay Hunter. And remember, a winner is you.